Hello again, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Joy, and welcome to the Joyful Beauty family. If you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you can stay connected and get notified every time we drop that lit, fresh, fire, amazing content. Is that enough adjectives, or should I go on? I hope you get the point, because it's gonna be amazing. Anyhow, without further ado, let's get into today's video. In this video, I'm going to get vulnerable and talk about something that I've been wanting to talk about for years. The elephant in the room. My hair loss. I'm sure a lot of you have questions, and I figured rather than spelling it out in the comments, let's just talk about my hair loss journey, what I've been through, some frequently asked questions about what I have, and just a little bit of insight on how I've been able to really develop a strong sense of confidence despite going through these incredible challenges. If you're new to the channel, I have a very rare autoimmune disease called alopecia. What is it? Well, in short, my body attacks the hair follicles because it thinks it's an invader. It's not really clear why my body does that, and there is no known cure, unfortunately. So when I was about 1 year old, my mother came over to my crib and noticed that there were chunks of hair everywhere. The chunks just continued to build, and within about a week, she said, my hair was completely gone. This was absolutely terrifying for my parents because I was their firstborn child, and suddenly it seemed like my body was turning against itself. They took me to the doctor, and the doctor ran a series of tests, and ultimately they concluded that I had alopecia. There's very many different strains of alopecia. My type of alopecia is called alopecia universalis, but another very common form is called alopecia areata. I'm not going to say it again because I struggle saying that word, but you can Google it. And I'll send some links below with regards to some medical literature that you can take a deeper dive on. So let's get back to the story at hand. So when I was just over 1, my parents found I had alopecia. It was devastating for them, but I think ultimately they were happy that I was otherwise relatively healthy. One thing I have to credit them with is that they always propped me up. They always reaffirmed my intelligence, reaffirmed my creativity, and reaffirmed me for being beautiful. This was huge, but I mean, unfortunately, in some ways it wasn't enough. When you're young, it's hard not to be affected by things that other people say, things that you see in the media, yeah, it's hard, straight up. I remember people at school calling me Caillou, people at school pointing and laughing at me, it was honestly straight up tough. Anyhow, I'm not gonna mince words. Long story short, it was a difficult time, particularly in elementary. Things started to get a little bit better in grade 7, grade 8. That's what we call middle school here in Canada. In middle school, I attended a French immersion school, and I was surrounded by some more academic kids, and I felt a little bit more included, and I felt pretty affirmed in my identity as a kid that was quite academic. But I mean, I can't lie, I was still struggling. I didn't have long braids like the other girls. I didn't have a middle school boyfriend. I didn't have long lashes that I could curl and experiment with. I just knew I was different, and it was obvious. And at that time, being different wasn't that cool. As I continued on into high school, I mean, to be honest, I was still a huge nerd, but for some reason, not having hair started to affect me slightly less. Actually, it's not for some reason. The reason was that I was starting to affirm my identity in my competencies and in my relationships, both with family, friends, and my relationship with God. I was a little less desperate to get affirmation from others. I mean, the insecurities were still there, don't get me wrong, but as I was getting this amazing feedback at school, as I was winning academic awards, as I was developing really beautiful, really tangible, real friendships, I started to have a more purpose-driven life, and that honestly started to spark joy for me, just having more of a purpose in life. As I transitioned into university, it was actually a bit of a 180. I found that in university, people are a little bit more accepting of people who are unique, and people were really celebrated just for being themselves. Don't get me wrong, university was still incredibly tough, especially because I went to a pretty much almost exclusively white university, and I was very distinctly Black and very distinctly bald. There was a lot of pressure that came with that. There was a lot of eyes on me, but for some reason, rather than cowling away, I saw this as an opportunity to just really say, hey, I'm here, I deserve to be here, and I belong. And that's just one huge piece of advice that I would give out to anyone who's struggling. Just know that even though the voices in your head may say, hey, I'm not beautiful, hey, maybe what I have to say doesn't matter, hey, maybe I don't deserve to be here, you really do. And I mean, if I could just sum that up, I would just say, I just stopped giving a shit, you know what I mean? Like, the less you care about what other people say, the stronger and more confident you will ultimately feel. So there's this amazing quote, I'm sure you've heard it before. It is often attributed to Nelson Mandela, but it was actually written by this amazing speechwriter. Her name is Marianne Williamson, and it says, I'm just gonna read it because I don't have it memorized. It says, "It is our light and not our darkness that frightens us most. Your playing small does not serve the world. Your playing small does not serve the world." Let's just pause there. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people can feel insecure around you. It is easy to shrink because shrinking often feels safer, but as you go throughout life, you realize that not speaking up can ultimately harm you in the long run. When your needs are not being served, whether at work or in relationships, whether in friendships, you're going to build resentment, you're going to feel incompetent, and you're going to feel unsafe. So just wherever you are, whoever you are, I encourage you to stop playing small. That honestly, I would say, has been my mantra and really the key to building this confidence. This is not like an overnight thing. To be honest, I still struggle with confidence, but I will say that as you get older, these feelings of incompetence start to fade a bit more. And as you learn more things, your competencies grow and your self-confidence will grow. As you see yourself get better at writing, as you see yourself get better playing the piano, as you see yourself get better at advocating for your needs in relationships, like, these feelings of insecurity will start to fade. In an upcoming video, we can talk a little bit more about some of the things that I've done to help build confidence, but I would say this is just a message I want to leave you guys with. I didn't mean for this to turn to a sermon, but honestly, I was just speaking from the heart, and I really hope that this has been empowering for you guys. All right, thanks again for tuning into my video, and I will see you guys next time on Joyful Beauty. In the interim, of course, you can always stay connected via my Instagram at joyfulxbeauty and via my website, www.joyfulbeauty.ca. All right, see you soon.